for today's video, I'm going to show you how to use function in Python programming languages. So let's get started. Function definitions. A function has two major parts, the definition head and the definition body. A function, it consists of a keyword, identifier, formal parameters or arguments, and a colon to mark the start of a statement block. Definition head on the body. The head function is used to get the first n rows. This function returns the first n rows for the object based on a position. It is useful for quickly testing if your object has the right type of data in it. And the body consists also of the indented statement. The function body gets executed every time the function is called. Parameters can be mandatory or optional. The optional parameters are 0 or more must follow the mandatory parameters. And the function bodies can contain a return statement. So guys, basically, ito yung pinaka best example natin guys para makagawa tayo ng isang simple function using a Python. And so guys, try natin siya ngayon. As you can see guys, meron ditong def may function. Itong def, ito yung pinaka keyword niya guys, gaya ng sinabi ko kanina. Then defining a function, function blocks begins with the keyword def. Ito nga guys, ito sinabi ko. And the followed by the function name is a parenthesis. Ito, parenthesis name. Ito yung magdi-display guys. And any input parameters or arguments should be placed within this parenthesis. The first statement of a function can be an optional statement. The documentation string of the function or the doc string. So guys, ito yung pinakasimpleng codes para sa ating functions. Try na natin siyang i-run guys. Ayan guys. So, ito na guys, nag-display na siya ng hello Miko Senado. Guys, bakit po ganun? Kasi po, ito lang po yung nakalagay sa ating parenthesis name. Lahat po ng pwede nating nalagay dito is magdi-display lang. Magdi-display siya. Magdi-display siya as by the function name in parenthesis. So next guys, ang second na itatake na naman natin is arguments. What is arguments? Arguments information can be passed into a function as arguments. Arguments are specified after the function name inside the parentheses. You can add as many arguments as you want. Just separate them with a comma. The following example is a function with one argument's first name. When the function is called, we pass along first name which is inside the function to print the full name. Example of the argument guys. Def my function first name, print parenthesis name, first name plus refness. Ito guys, makikita niyo siya kung paano yung gamit niya, kung paano yung gamit doon pag kinode na siya. And may function, tatlo yung function to guys, yung argument na nilagay. And test. So try na natin siyang i-code. And dito guys, as you can see, merong first name na akong inano sa parenthesis. And print first name plus yung ito nga yung kanina yung sinabi ko sa inyo guys. Automatically, kung ano yung nilagay nyo dito guys is magiging surname ng kung ilang function yung nilagay nyo. Yung guys, try natin siya ngayon. Ayun guys, ito. Senado yung nilagay ko. So basically, lahat ng tatlong itong tatlong to na Miko, Mira, Carl, is automatically yung surname niya is magiging pareho sa pare-pareho siya, guys. Itong tatlong to is automatically magiging pagkakapare-pareho ng surname. So next, guys. Ito, keyword arguments. Same as our arguments lang siya, guys. Keyword arguments are related to the function calls. When you use keyword arguments in a function call, the caller identifies the arguments by the parameters. Ayun nga, yung keyword sa arguments, guys, ito yung parang keyword niya para ma-call, para matawag mo yung isang function. And this allows you to skip the arguments or to place them out of the order because the Python interpreter is able to use the keywords provided to match the value with the parameters. Keywords arguments are related to the function calls. When you use a keyword arguments in a function calls, the caller identifies the arguments by the parameters. So guys, ito yung example natin sa keyword arguments. You can also send arguments with the key. Ito yung key, ayun yung yung keyword nga equals sa value of a syntax. This way, the order of the argument does not matter. For example, def my function child 3, child 2, child 1, print parenthesis name. The youngest child is ayun, kung ano yung magiging output niya, kung ano yung sino yung tinawag mo dito sa tatlo. Ayan, so guys, try natin siya. Dito tayo sa keyword argument. So guys, ito, def my function child 3, child 2, and child 1. Ito, kaya siya naka-highlight, guys, kasi tinawag natin siya dito sa ano natin sa functions. My function child 1 equals Richmond, child 2 equals Carl, child 3 equals Nico. Ang tinawag ko po sa functions natin is the cutest child is child 3. So basically, yung nilagay ko sa my function, yung child 3 is Nico. So dapat lalabas dito is yung Nico. The cutest child is Nico. Ayan. Try natin siya, guys. Functions. Ay, hindi pala. Keywords arguments. Ayan. Kasi pag marami na, guys, na marami nang i-input dito na code, nakakalito na dito. Ayan. Ito siya, guys. The cutest child is Nico. Ayan. Kasi ayun yung naging output, kasi ayun yung child 3 natin. Ito yung keyword arguments tinatawag. Ayan. Ito, child 3. And automatically highlight siya dito sa dalawa. Yan lang, guys. Then next is default arguments. Ang default arguments naman is argument that assume a default value. If a value is not provided in the function called for that argument, the following examples gives an idea on default arguments and prints the default age if it is not passed. And for example, def student first name last name equals mark and standard with print name first name last name in studies in standard and standard. So yan, try natin siya, guys. So siya, guys, meron tayo dito na first positional arguments, second positional arguments, and the third positional arguments. Kasi, guys, sa pagkakaintindi ko, guys, ito yung yung parang ganun din siya sa sa keyword arguments. Automatically din na kung ano yung nakalagay sa standard universe ay hindi na lalabas sa parang surname, parang ganun din. Parang kagaya din siya ng keyword arguments. Ayun, Ito, John Mark, ito yung pinaka-output natin guys, babasahin natin. John Mark studies in Adamson University. So basically, ito yung pinaka first position, positional argument. Yan, John Mark, first name yan, first name, last name. Yan, John Mark studies. Ito yung pinaka ano natin, function. Yan, studies in Adamson for standard university. And guys, tinatawag na lang ng ano kung ano yung mga first positional data. And the second one is yung John Gates. And John Gates studies in 7th university. And kung mapapansin nyo guys, siya lang yung pinagkaiba na pinakadulo. Lahat pare-pareho diyan sa inyo na Adamson University. Kasi ito na po yung pinaka third positional arguments. Kumbaga pinapakita dito kung ano yung flow ng kung ilan karami yung positional arguments na binabasa natin guys. Yan. So next guys is yung variable length arguments. What is variable length arguments? Variable length arguments, you may need to process a function for more arguments that you specified while defining the function. These arguments are called variable length argument and are not named in the function definition, unlike for the default arguments. For example ng variable length arguments, if the number of argument is unknown, add an asterisk daw before the parameters name. And like, gaya na ito guys. Cheat. So guys, try na natin siya. Variable length arguments. And same as lang siya nung kanina, yung the cutest child is Miko, ganun. Pero dito is may asterisk kasi once na ito may asterisk kasi. Kumbaga kahit wala na siyang pagkasunod-sunod, basta pag naglagay ka ng asterisk tapos kid parenthesis 1 ganun, automatically lalabas na kung ano yung yan. Try natin siya guys. And guys, the youngest child is Tobias. Kasi nag-function ka na ng ayun, pinagkaiba niya lang guys is may asterisk siya. Same as output lang siya ng dito, keyword arguments. Tama ba? Ayan. Pero dito sa keyword arguments is wala siyang asterisk. Rekta siya, child 1, child 2, child 3, ganun. May mga specific name pa siya na tinatawag. Dito kasi wala na. Asterisk na lang tas kids, ganun. Next is yung the anonymous function. The anonymous function. These functions are called anonymous because they are not declared in the standard manner by using the def keyword. You can use the lambda keywords to create small anonymous functions expressions. Lambda forms can take any number of arguments but return just one of the value in the form of an expression. They cannot contain command or multiple expression. An anonymous function can be a direct call to print because lambda requires an expression and lambda function have their own local namespace and cannot access the variable other than those in their parameters list and those in the global namespace. And although it appears the lambda are one-line version of the function and they are not equivalent to inline statement in C or C++, whose purpose in bypassing function to function stack allocation during the invocation for performance reasons. So, okay, lambda function. A lambda function is a small anonymous function. It can be a lambda function can take any numbers of arguments but can only have one expression. Syntax of lambda arguments is expression. Lambda function. Somewhere, ito yung yung example natin guys sa lambda function. Summarize argument A, B, and C and return the result. For example, x equals lambda A, B, and C is A plus B plus C. So guys, na-try natin siya ngayon. Let's go. Yan. Ito guys, for example, ito x is equal of A and B and C and A plus B plus C. Print x 5 colon 6 colon 2. Yan. So guys, basically yung lambda is in the word itself, in Python programming is an anonymous function or a function having no name. Para lang siyang para siyang nag-a-add yun. Nag-a-add, subtract ganun na walang pangalan. It is a small and restricted function having no more than one line. Yeah, guys. Just like a normal function, ganun. A lambda function can have a multiple arguments. Pwede rin yung ganun. With one expression, the lambda keywords, the parameters of a bound variable. So guys, try natin siya. Ang ginawa ko guys is pinag-plus ko lang yung tatlo. And guys, ang purpose po na ito is yung para ma-merge niya po yung tatlo. Then ma-calculate niya. Yan. 5 plus 6 and yung A is yung 5, yung B is yung 6, yung C is yung 2. Yan. So basically ito yung nangyari. 5 plus 6 plus 2. Then print. Yan. Ang lumabas is 13. Parang kinumpit niya nga sa addition lang. Yan. So guys, next is yung why use lambda function? The power of lambda is better shown when you use them as an anonymous. Ayun nga. Function inside another function. Yan. Say you have a function definition that takes one argument and that argument will be multiplied with a known number. The next is the return statement keyword. The statement returns expression exists as a function, optionally passing back an expression to the caller. A return statement with no arguments is the same as a return none. May example tayo dito guys ng return keyword statement. Define in usage. The return keyword is to exit the function in the return value. Yung na ito, ang purpose ng return keyword statement is yung tawag dito. Yung keyword niya is ibabalik niya lang and mag-execute siya sa function as a return value. So yan, tatry natin siya guys. Sana ba tayo? Yan, return keyword statement. Yan, dito tayo guys. Ayun nga, yung def my function return plus 3 plus 3 print hello world. Ito, print my function. So alisin na natin siya. Dito na lang tayo mag-focus sa kung paano nire-return yung value. Return statement 6 print my function. Ayun lang, ganun lang din siya kasimple guys. And the return keyword is to exit a function and return a value. Yan. Try natin siya ibang way naman. 4 plus 6 4 plus 3 plus 3. Return statement. Yan, 10. Ganun lang. Nire-return niya lang kung ano yung nakalagay sa may function natin, guys. So next is yung scope of a variable. All variables in a program may not be accessible at all location in the program. This depends on where you have declared a variable. And the scope of a variable determines the portion of the program where you can access as a particular identifier. There are two basic scope of variable in Python, the global variables and the local variables. Global versus local variables. Variables that are defined inside the function body have a local scope, and those defined outside have a global scope. This means that the local variables can be accessed only inside the function in which they are declared, where area's global variable can be accessed throughout the program body by all function. Yan. So guys, the program body by all function. When you call a function, the variables declared inside the brought into scope. What is local scope? A local scope, variable created inside the function belongs to the local scope of the function. It can only be used inside the function. For example, def my function x is equals to 300. Print x. Kumbaga, yung local scope, ito po yung pinaka simplest way ng paano mag-insert ng variable into a value. Parang lalagyan natin yung variable natin, ilalagyan natin siya ng value. Insert na ng value. And print x. Try natin siya, guys. Local scope. Def my function x is equals to 300, print x. Kumbaga, tatawagin niya lang kung ano yung laman nung variable natin. Kung ano yung value niya. Local scope. Ayun, yung ganun lang siya, guys, kasimple. Ang tinuturo ko lang dito, guys, is yung mga simple codes lang about sa functions, sa keywords argument, mga simplest way lang. Mas may mga difficult pa po dito na pwedeng gawin pag na-master nyo po yung Python. So next, guys, is yung local scope. Global scope. A variable created in the main body of the Python code is a global variable. It belongs to the global scope. Variables are available from within any scope, global and local. Example, a variable created outside of a function is a global and can be used by anyone. X is equal to 300. Def my function print x. My function print x. Parang madodoble lang to, guys. Yung a variable treated in the main body. It belongs to the global scope. Global variables are available from within any scope, global and local. Yun nga, ganun nga, guys. Sino global? Ayan siya, guys. Try natin siyang i-run kung tama. Ayan nga, guys. Kumbaga, dinodoble niya yung pinaka-value ng variable natin. Ang difference niya ng global sa local is a global variable is a variable that accessible globally. Yan, ganun. A local variable is one of um, a local variable is one that is only accessible to the current scope, such as a temporary variable used in a SQL's function definition. Yan. So guys, yun lang. Thank you for watching.